Hey, it's Thomas. So maybe 2 weeks ago, I had a company reach out to me and say that they were launching a new product and asked if I wanted to test out their product. It seemed like a cool product, so I said yes, and they shipped it to me. The company was Leaf Shave, and they're launching a new shave brush and shave bowl. If you're not familiar with them, I've done some other shaving videos with their different razors. Here's one of their razors. It's kind of looks like a Mach 3, but it actually takes one half of a safety razor blade, or they actually make their own blades. Their special made blades are actually just kind of like they call them a single edge blade. So basically, it still looks like one half of a safety razor blade, but it's single edge, and you don't have to snap it in half like you would a regular safety razor blade. A regular safety razor blade, if you're not familiar, would be like kind of if you mirror image of this to duplicate, and then you have to snap it in half in the package, so you don't have to worry about cutting yourself. They also have their own version of like safety razors. Traditional safety razor will have it'll kind of come over and you'll be able to shave with both sides, right? But since their blades are single edge, they design it just to have one half. And their razors, twig and thorn, one's more aggressive shave than the other one. And the other shaving implement I'm familiar with is they have a dermaplaner, and it takes the same blades as the razors, and it has like a little guard in there for that. So made out of metal, a little bit higher quality, or a lot more high quality than a dermaplaner you might find at like TJ Maxx or something like that. But yeah. So I did do a unboxing video, but the lighting was bad, so don't have the unboxing video. But these are the boxes it comes in. Shave bowl, shave brush, and then they sent me some soap to test out. One's named Fig and one's fragrance free. Obviously, Fig kind of keeps in line with their branding. Leaf shave, twig razor, a thorn razor. Fig. And then something to note. Came in a cardboard box, and then only other kind of cushioning was a piece of paper. So they kind of try to reduce the plastic waste. So I only point that out in case you that's important to you. If you like to reduce your plastic footprint, then Leaf Shave's definitely a company that focuses on that. But yeah, so getting to their shave bowl and shave brush, right? It's stainless steel bowl. It has a silicone cover, and then a zinc brush with a silicone kind of grip on it. And the shave bowl is a little bit differently. You can kind of see in the bottom there's a hole, and then that kind of allows you to press on the bottom and pop the shave puck out. So if you wanted to switch between scents, that's kind of easy to do. Yeah, so we'll demonstrate their bowl. We'll get one of their shave pucks out. So here's one of the Figs. I guess these are like 1.5 ounces each. They say you can get like 20 plus shaves. I would say that's accurate based off my experience with other shave pucks. But basically, so you see these little things in there, these little ridges. I guess that kind of helps hold the shave bar. I call it a puck. They call it a shave bar. So the shave bar or soap bar. What do they call it? Yeah, shave soap bar. Okay. So you kind of line that out, and then you push it in firmly, and then the shave soap bar deforms to match the grooves, and then it stays in there nice and tight. You can put it upside down, still in there. And then if you want to pop it out, like I said, you just press on the back, and then it loosens, loosen the puck up, and you put a different scent in there. So that's actually Sounds like a really small thing, but you know, if you're used to shaving with a shave mug or you haven't shaved with a shave mug, right? So a lot of times that shave soap will get stuck in the bottom if you've been using it. Now I already did one video, so I was able to pry it out, you know, so it's not that hard. I'll post the other video, and I'll try to edit in the other part where I had to pry it out. But basically, if it gets stuck in there, you're stuck pulling out, you know, pulling it out with a fork, right? So not not terrible, but you know, this is definitely a way better method. You know, push it out from the bottom versus getting a fork to pull it out, and then or you know might have another shave bowl, you know, wood shave bowl. This is one that I use quite a lot in my photos, and you can kind of see where I already kind of pulled this one out with a fork in a previous video too. But so kind of similar thing is once you've been shaving with it, it's kind of really stuck in there, and you have to put a fork in there, you know, and pull it out to pop in another shave scent. So I definitely really like that feature right there. I think that's a great enhancement to you know, shave bowls and stuff like that. So yeah, hats off to Leaf Shave. I do kind of wonder, you know, if that's like a breakdown zone, you know, if that's gonna kind of break down, you know, over years. But I mean, if you think about it, you know, like, you know, maybe you might use it once a day. So, you know, it would be interesting to find out if there's any wear and tear and that starts tearing in there. But, you know, it looks quality build. You know, I don't think you would have an issue with it for foreseeable future. So next thing, you know, I mentioned it was made out of stainless steel, right? So a lot of your other shave mugs are made out of ceramic, right? And so they're easy and real prone to pick up chips, right? And then if you drop this, knock it off your bathroom counter, you know, it's gonna shatter. Case in point, I think this was my grandpa's, you know, shaving mug, right? You can kind of see the cracks in it where it got dropped and glued back together, right? So stainless steel is going to be a lot more durable and like break resistant. You know, the only thing I could think of that might happen with this is it might, you know, you might drop it, might pick up a dent, but I have a feeling that silicone cover is going to protect it from even getting like a dent in it. Kind of a similar thing with a shave bowl, right? You know, ceramic, you drop that, it's kind of done unless you want to glue it back together. And then if we pull this shave soap bar out, you can kind of see these little grooves. So they're calling that aeration fins. So basically to help you lather up, you know, faster and build a lather better or whatever. If you compare that to like a regular shave bowl, you know, that's kind of completely flat. And then also, you know, there's nothing like that in a shave mug. I have heard of, you know, like speed lather bowls and stuff like that kind of do like a similar thing, but you know, it's kind of nice how they all have it all kind of built into the one thing. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the shave brush, right? So you have synthetic bristles. Let me correct that. That's vegan synthetic fibers, or you know, bristles, and basically, so they're not like an animal fiber. So you know, if you a lot of your traditional shave brushes, right? They're made with a badger hair brush, and you know, so if you don't like the fact that badgers are used, you know, to make brushes, then synthetic fiber brush is great alternative, right? You can enjoy, you know, the lather of you know, kind of like the experience of lathering up with the shave brush, and but not have to worry about, you know, impacting badgers anyway. Let's see here, what else? Also, they made a hole in the bottom, and so they try to make it real easy to lather up. So basically, you fill it up with water, once, dump it in, fill it up with water a second time, dump it in, and they're saying that's kind of the right amount of water to build a lather, quality lather. Let's see what else. So if you wanted to try out their shave soap, but you already had your own bowl, so here's a smaller shave mug. If I toss that in there, it fits fine on the smaller one. And then kind of same thing with the larger one. So if I take this other one out, pop it in there, fits just fine. So yeah, so if you want to use their shave soap, it definitely works with your existing shave mugs. At least it did with mine. I imagine it would work with yours too if you already have one. Let's see here. Yeah, I can't really think of like anything else. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and I'm gonna be shaving my head, so I'll be lathering my head, and then we'll see how it lathers and go from there. So first thing, so they say fill this up twice with water, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so that's filled with water. So dump that in there. Let's see if you can see the water. Then we're gonna fill it up a second time. Dump that in there. Then I'm actually gonna pause and then go ahead and I like to wet my hair before I put lather in it. Just something I do. I don't know if everyone does that, but before I go any further, they say with badger hair brushes, this is synthetic, but I don't know for badger hairs they say let it soak in water. I typically I'll typically run it through water and then let it sit while I'm wetting my hair. That way it could kind of let the water soak in. Since this is like a synthetic brush, I'm not sure how applicable that is. I don't know if they absorb water like the badger hair brushes do. But also typically with your traditional badger hair brush, a lot of people recommend not using hot water on your brush, so it doesn't kind of affect the glue for the bristles, because you can kind of potentially accelerate the bristle loss. That will occur naturally anyways, but there's lots of people out there that say just use cold water on your brush, don't use hot water, otherwise you risk kind of accelerating the hair loss. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just telling you what I heard. All right, so but I went ahead and kind of put water in it. Kind of put quite a bit of water, right? And then we'll let this soak. All right, I'm gonna squeeze out the excess moisture from this brush. Just squeeze it out. I just kind of want a little bit of water, not too much. And then there's the two things already in there. So and then yeah, we'll just go ahead and they say 90 seconds is how much you need. So we'll go ahead and just kind of go from there and see what happens. And typically, I don't know, I would probably already be doing this, but I'll go for 90 seconds just to see how rich it gets. Hand's starting to get kind of tired. Like 90 seconds, that's a long time. But you're more than free to play with the amount of water and then how long you whip the brush up, right? So you just kind of play with it, figure out what works for you, and then go from there. There's no law saying you have to have a certain amount of water or go a certain amount of kind of swirl it a certain amount of time. It's all your personal preference. Alright, getting really soapy in there. Alright, I think that's close to 30 seconds. Alright, so there we go. Nice and foamy. Normally I don't really foam like that. I normally like lather it on my head, do all the lathering on my head, so this is a little bit different. It's probably the first time I've kind of built up that much lather on a brush, if you go back through and watch all my shaving videos. So yeah, we'll go ahead and transfer it to my head and then go from there. So the brush feels good. You know, feels like my badger hair one. You know, I don't have any complaints about it at all. Let's see if I can find my gear. There you go, like a nice rich lather. Yeah, so lathers really works. Yeah, there's like a slight, almost like a slight purple like tint to it on the lather. I don't know if that transfers to the video that well, but slightly purple, not completely purple. Yeah, but I really have no complaints. I think they're a great addition. Meant to say this earlier, but I actually think like everyone should buy like a shave brush, a shave bowl. Those should be like the two things that everyone has. They just like make lathering so much better, and like the shaving experience so much better than just kind of, you know, like grabbing a can, sticking it on your hand, and lathering it on your face, right? Like, I don't know, it almost, like, I've been using, like, a shave bowl and brush for almost 15 years now, and I would never go back. The only time you'll ever see me is like, if I'm just making a video about it, but, like, shave brush all the way. You know, putting the lather on my hand, I almost feel like that'd be like eating like a steak with my hand, you know, picking up a steak and eating it with my hands. It just feels awkward and not right anymore, you know. So love the shave brush from Leaf Shave. I love the shave bowl. Go ahead, you know, if you don't have one, pick one up. You know, they're definitely a great addition to, you know, your bathroom, your shaving utensils or whatever. I guess there is one thing, you know, my other shave bowl, you know, has a kind of a lid on it. This doesn't have a lid, so I'm not quite sure kind of what you do. Do you just like rinse that out? I guess you would just rinse that out with water, and then you know, to clean it up. I don't think you would, you know, save it, and then, but with the brush, yeah, definitely rinse your brush out after you're done with it. If you're gonna do multiple passes, obviously you can leave it in there, but when you're done for the day, rinse your brush out. All right, and then yeah, we'll go ahead and try rinsing this out with water. I'm done shaving my head, obviously, so we'll try to rinse out the shave brush and the shave water. Yeah, there's lots of lather. You know, I re-lathered the back of my head when I was shaving it, so yeah, it definitely worked good. And we'll see what happens. So I'll put it under water and then I'll squeeze it to get all the lather out, and do that multiple times until, you know, there's no more lather in the brush. All right, there's no more water, and then we'll just squeeze the excess water out to kind of help it dry. less water in it means there's less water to evaporate off of it. All right, and then there we have it, clean shave brush, and then I'll just try to rinse this soap out. Alright, soap's rinsed out. I guess I could use a paper towel maybe. Maybe if I use a paper towel, maybe it kind of, I don't know, less water gets on the soap, so the soap lasts longer. I don't know. Yeah, I decided to rinse it out, and then there we have it. I guess one last comment about the brush. Yeah, so this is like 3.4 ounces. Most of my other brushes weigh about like 2.2 ounces and stuff like that. So it's definitely the heaviest brush I have. You know, there's a silicone grip on it. You know, I've never really had much an issue like kind of holding on to shave brushes. So you know, the silicone grips are nice. I don't know if it really gives me more of a grip than other brushes, but you know, I don't have any complaints about it. Overall, yeah, I like the set, and yeah, I think they're a good addition. And if you don't have one, if you don't have any shave soap or any shave brush, then yeah, this is be a great addition to you know, your shaving cabinet or your bathroom, whatever you want to call it. Just yeah. Talk to you later.